Hello and welcome everybody to another episode live from my laundry room. I wanted to do a picks video today, partially because I was feeling lazy and did not want to write, partially because it was a really busy day, partially because I want to practice making videos. I feel as if a lot of the times when I'm talking on video, I lose track of my thoughts and just wanted to get some practice in there, but mostly the laziness thing. So let's get into it. Tonight we have Suning versus JDG, and when I first looked at this game, I thought for sure that I would be on JDG. I picked JDG before the tournament to win the whole thing. I like all of their players. I love their team fight style. But as I looked a little deeper into numbers, I started to think that maybe this one's going to be unbettable from a moneyline odds standpoint. So if we look here, we got Suning at 11 to 8 and JD Gaming at 8 to 15. So if we run that into a converter here, we got 42% on Suning. And then for JDG, 65.2%. So obviously there's a lot of vig and juice in there. It doesn't even add up to 100 because that's how the books do when it comes to esports. And I have this right in that 60-40 zone. And so that is, yeah, that's completely unbettable to me. The one thing I will be doing with the side here is I have a lot of JD Gaming futures bets, and they're basically the key to me making money even on other teams because I have them to make the finals, I have them to win the finals. So there's a lot of hedge opportunities and all of that with them coming down the road too. So personally, I am going to make a 4 unit, I think, Suning money line bet because I have so many units tied up in JD Gaming futures. But if I were just betting this game without any ideas about futures, then I don't think I would make a bet on the money line or the spread here. Spreads are tough because 3-1s are significantly more common than 3-2s, and so whoever wins is probably going to win 3-1. So you're better off just kind of betting the money line anyway. I still think I believe that JD Gaming's going to win this one. I trust them in late game situations more than I trust Suning. But if we look over at the stats for the teams on this patch specifically, so at Worlds, you can see here, Suning is the second best gold spent differential team in the tournament. This is basically my favorite stat for telling how a team is doing. It is kind of like the point differential in basketball or kind of like the expected goal differential in soccer. It's actually more like the expected goal differential because it is even more telling than just straight up points. Now points can, vary based on like how lucky we got shooting that day or whatever. That's the same thing with kills in League, right? Kills can vary based on some luck factors. Gold typically does not vary on luck factors very much. It is, on your macro gameplay and just how well you play team fights too. So them being the second best gold spent differential team behind Suning in the tournament gives me a little pause. Obviously, DRX was also quite high in that statistic because of who they played in the group stage. So, it can be a little misleading, but I don't think it is with Suning. Suning has been really, really strong on this patch. I think that Ben has been playing out of his mind. Sofim, obviously, everyone knows about him at this point. So I do think that they match up, player for player pretty well with JD Gaming. Like top lane, I would make it even between Zoom and Bin. I think that Bin is probably more fit for a carry top lane meta, and Zoom is more fit for a tank top lane meta. I think both kinds of champions are very playable, so I don't really give an edge there. Then in the jungle, Kanavi versus SOFM, I would say these are two of the best junglers in the world. I wouldn't really give much of an edge there. Yagao and Angel are both not the stars of their team and are often asked to do sort of like a weak side mid lane type role. And so I like Yagao better. I think that he doesn't throw the game for his team ever, whereas Angel might. But he hasn't been doing that at this tournament, and Yagao's not really the right player to take advantage of that. And then in the bot lane, the Huan Fang and Sword Art versus Loken and Lumao. I think that Loken and Lumao are the best bot lane in the world, so I would give that tiny little edge to JDG there. And the reason I like them more is I think that their ability to play team fights is much more consistent than Sword Art and Huanfeng. Sword Art and Huanfeng can be really good in lane. Sword Art likes to play engaged supports, but Lumao is just an absolute savage in team fights. So I think that that's where JD Gaming is probably going to get a tiny bit of edges through Lumao, and I do think that through his leadership and engage, I think that they will eventually come out on top, but I do think it's too close to call like a 60-40 split. So this is unbettable to me. There is one spot that I do like, and that is the kill total. So we have over 27.5, under 27.5 for this one. And if we look at these two teams so far at Worlds, and obviously they come from LPL, which is just generally a high kill region, and JDG and Suning are both teams that like to take team fights, and they will take team fights from losing positions if it means that there's a way to get back into the game. We saw that multiple times with group stage with both teams. So they're never going to just like sit back and concede the game and have those kind of like low kill losses like maybe a Team Liquid would have or something like that. And so if we look here, JD Gaming's played 6 games and they have 175 kills in their games combined. So let's just do a quick math there. 175 divided by 6. Yeah, so they're averaging about 29 kills in their games, which would be quite high, relatively high for the tournament. I think last I looked, tournament total was like 24.5 or something like that. So that would make them a pretty strong total team. And then Suning with 7 games, 114 plus 84, 198 divided by their 7 games. Yeah, so they're at 28 kills, which also makes them kind of a high kill total team for the tournament on average too. So when those two teams combined, and they're also close-ish in talent, I think that it tends towards a higher total because close games often, trade kills back and forth and end on 1 or 2 team fights, but both teams get kills in the early and mid game. A lot of times you'll see it's like 7 to 8 at 19 minutes, 20 minutes or something like that, and then someone aces someone or someone makes a comeback or something like that, and then you're really live to go over the total. So I will bet that on the first map, and then I think I will bet it on every map that it's available going forward, because these things tend to come in bunches. I've noticed in series, like if there's a high total in the first game, there's usually a high total in the second, third, fourth, fifth. You don't have to win all of them also to come out profitable on the day, but it does seem that once that sort of like aggressive high kill team fight style is established, it comes back game after game. So I'm betting the over. I'll probably just do 1 unit on each of the overs that are available and hope that I can go, hopefully I can go 3-0 with it or 5-0 with it or whatever. But even if we go 3-2, you make profit there. So I'm going to bet the over on each just because of their relative total strength and their combined total strengths. But then, like I said, on the sides, nothing. I'm not too up on the stats for these props in Worlds, so I'm not going to touch those. If you want to maybe look at Vince's article at Gelati LOL on Twitter on the esports department. I know he always dives deep into that stuff, but I don't know too much about that. So yeah, I think those are gonna be just my main bets tonight. I mostly just gonna go over these totals and then make that little hedge with Suning I talked about with JDG. I did want to just have a quick look at what they have for futures here. So right now JDG is 12-1, which is just so wild to me, and then Suning is 16-1. So if you have a feeling about this game, I really think that both of these teams are closer than to top esports in this. And then if they make the final against Damwon or Gen.G or whatever, you can hedge off of 12-1 or 16-1. So if you don't have any futures positions right now, I would look at JDG, Suning, maybe even Gen.G at 25-1. Who knows what's going to happen with them in G2 tomorrow, and then they play against Damwon, who they have played a lot of times and are very familiar with. That didn't work out with DRX today, but I think that Gen.G is slightly more talented team than DRX, so I could see them being more competitive with Damwon. So yeah, if you were looking for yourself for a futures position because you didn't have any yet, I would look there. Okay, awesome. I will talk to you guys again soon. I'm hoping to do a MLS DFS video this weekend, and then I'll obviously be writing, and maybe we'll put out an Infinity Edge episode about League of Legends DFS. I currently am sitting with a Damwon and JDG stacks because I just felt like those were the two teams that were going to win. And so, yeah, I'm sitting pretty okay right now, and hoping that JD Gaming has a good night tonight, and maybe we can come out on top over there as well. All right.